Hi, I'm Jansue, and this is my final pitch. It's often said that the main reason for the failure of projects to deliver their intended outcomes is the misalignment or misunderstanding with user needs. I find this to be true. In my workplace, often what customers tell you is symptomatic. What they really need is often remarkably different. I commenced this course because I wanted to make a difference. For me, it all started with a whisper. Following a collaboration workshop, which was a raging success, I heard two people speak to each other. That's the first time I feel like someone's actually ever listened to me, one of them said. And for me, this was an epiphany. Why don't we provide design services as a standard offering? I thought. We can clearly see the benefits in understanding the user needs, staying in the problem state to help them figure out what the best solution is to their problems. So I undertook this course to do just that. Initially, I started with understanding my users. In order to really understand our business and the potential users of our design services, I needed to deeply understand what motivates them, inspires them, what their constraints and opportunities are. I needed to empathise with them and their daily successes and failures. To do this, I undertook two research methods: user interviews and empathy maps. The user interviews, for me, the key takeaway was that it gave me an opportunity to ask some candid questions and probe deeper into the issues, to try and get to the heart of the issue, not just the symptoms, to apply the 5 whys, to get to the crux of their constraints and pains. I noticed that by doing so, my original design challenge was also starting to change in my mind, from why don't we provide human-centered design as a standard offering, to which constraints are holding us back from delivering design services, and how might I overcome these? The empathy map allowed me to holistically capture the breadth of my users' feelings. I noticed that through mapping their feelings in this manner, I noticed that empathy is more than just putting myself in their shoes. It's about putting on their whole outfit, living through them and embodying their experiences as much as possible, their pains, their frustrations, and everything I felt shaped my design question even further in my mind. How will people feel if we deliver design services? What problem am I solving? By empathizing, I was better equipped to understand their pain and better define the problem. Why is this important? I kept asking, because I now know how they think and what words they use, and importantly, how they feel. I mapped their feelings through the persona of Jen, a delivery manager, and captured this through a journey map where Jen's processes, needs, goals, pain points, and customer interactions were mapped against the overall process. By doing this, I was able to look at the problem differently. From my first iteration, where I thought our branch doesn't currently provide these design services, things were starting to change as people were offering us lots and lots of views. I lingered longer in this problem state to try and really understand, how will we make this work? Which problem is the most important for these users? Is it just enough to provide design services? What about the constraints? Listening to users and mapping these out through an affinity diagram, 3 key themes stood out: deeply understanding business users, financial and efficiency measures, and support from the executive. These 3 key themes always cropped up regardless of who we spoke to. So now our problem went even deeper. And our second iteration, How might we inform business areas about funding requirements so we can provide sustained design thinking services emerged? And that way we could solve the problem. How can we embed design thinking into services offered by our branch in a sustained manner? In order to get to the bottom of these questions, we held an ideation workshop. Through this, those key themes were amplified and we got some really remarkable ideas and insights. The three that jumped out in particular that went a long way to informing my prototype was number one, business needed accessible information to learn about design services and how we could help their specific project, the requirements and other basic information. Number two, we would need to provide an accessible, reportable and scalable solution that business could access, executives could report on, and the delivery manager could manage demand for. And number three, it had to align with and support funding cycles for continuity and resourcing. And then, bingo, the idea hit me. We had to provide a service where business could move through logical steps like pieces on a game board. This lended its hand to developing the prototype. I did this as a game board where business could move through the different processes, different points depending on where they were in the funding cycle. And by doing so, they would be given positive user experiences. The prototype made it easy for people to really understand the importance of funding, information and access to that information, and timing as key steps in the prototype. So this results in my final recommendation, which is presented here as a future state process map. The trigger is that business are curious about design services. They would log on to an intranet or something similar and undertake a search which would take them to a landing page. Here they can learn all the information that they need in order to understand not only the funding cycle but the services that the service team are able to provide for them. They can then click on the link there in order to apply for those services, and that would triage through to the delivery manager, who would be the penultimate person making the decision. Should they be successful, the business would be engaged and design services would be offered. This is my proposal. I want to build a service request catalogue that business areas can access readily, to ensure that when they want a swing that looks like this, that's exactly what they will get. Thank you for watching.